Welcome to Viva Physical Media. I'm Emily.
I'm Kevin. You might have seen us on the telethon a couple weeks ago. We've survived.
Thanks to you guys.
Yeah.
We met our goal of $25,000.
In one day.
In one day, which is
pretty
incredible.
Amazing. It was a fun day, right?
Yeah.
So fun?
I had so much fun. I had so much adrenaline going. I immediately went to a birthday party right afterwards. Just felt like I could lift a car, you know?
Yeah, I went out and lifted some cars. We flipped them right over.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was not good.
But yeah, we want to thank you if you tuned in, if you donated.
Still got Scarecrow 2.1.
2.1
it's still going on, so click the links below if you want to still get in on the rewards and stuff. If you're somebody who has gotten a reward and are going like, where is it? Well, I've had a whole bunch of them.
We threw it away. I'm sorry.
We threw it away.
We were joking.
If you ask that to yourself, we threw it away.
We were joking about the rewards. You don't get anything.
Oh, fun.
Just kidding. You get them for sure.
I do all the shipping, and so I'm the shipping department. So I'm working on it. So if you haven't gotten your thing yet, and you're wondering where is it, it's probably either on its way or it will be on its way shortly. It's in my room in the back.
It's in his room over there.
It makes it sound like my bedroom.
I know. I love calling it your room because it is. There's a decorative pillow in there. There's we should do it. We should do an MTV Cribs style.
We should.
We should.
All right. Well,
we got some ideas.
Tune into episode 20. When we make it to episode 20, we'll do that.
Wait, what is this one?
This is episode 18.
Okay. If you guys have any really cool ideas for what we should do for episode 20,
we want it to be a full Baconator episode again.
Oh, yeah, definitely gotta be a Baconator
like a full Baconator that's wrapped in a tortilla and deep fried in a pizza or something, you know?
Yeah, instead of buns, there's more bacon.
Yeah.
We're also celebrating something today.
Oh, we are.
We're celebrating our dear friend, our beloved director.
He's right over there.
Our cat man, as people call him in our emails himself.
Cat man, yeah.
It's Rich. It was Rich's birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's a while now because you're seeing this in the future. But you can't see him. He's got on the birthday hat. Maybe he'll make an appearance later. Who knows?
We can't make any promises, but we'll try.
But we're sipping on some bubbly. Yeah. Cheers to Rich.
Happy birthday, Rich.
Happy birthday, Rich. I was the first person Rich hugged after a year.
That is true. It was just earlier today.
So I'm feeling great.
Even though it's after his birthday, everybody send any comments or messages to Rich for his happy birthday.
Yeah, wish him a happy birthday.
We probably said it in the video that you watched from last week, but we were like a week behind, sort of. But you guys saw us at the telethon. You saw our mailbag last week. So now you get us this week. You're getting a lot more of us, actually, this month than you normally do. So you're welcome.
Did you know it's almost June?
Yeah,
It probably is June.
When you're watching this, it's June.
And that means we're halfway through 2021, which is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it is halfway through.
Just
Weird.
Seriously messed up. But we decided to do our mid-year movie discoveries. We're not going to go too in-depth, but we're going to give some shout-outs to stuff we've watched this year that we haven't really dove into on the show that we want to highlight.
My first one has been plugged heavily on our friends at the Pure Cinema podcast is Jeremy.
A happy tune, long enough to last me all through the afternoon.
And
God, I still need to see that.
This is one of the loveliest movies I've seen in a long time. It's just a beautiful story of first love and heartbreak, but in just such a real way. And this new DVD or Blu-ray from Fun City Editions is just awesome.
I love how that looks too.
Yeah, I mean the artwork is great.
So cute.
The whole package of it is great, but it's got there's a great interview with Glynis O'Connor, the star, and Robbie Benson. They were both teenagers when they made the movie, obviously. They were a couple after this. They fell in love making this movie and stuff. And it's just so, I mean, the movie itself without that is perfect, but I highly recommend checking out Jeremy. And thanks to Brian and Elric at the Pure Cinema podcast for plugging this a bunch of times. I think they talked to Quentin Tarantino about it on the Tarantino one. It's just very sweet. It's very small in the best way.
Okay, my first one is actually two.
What? You cheated.
And it's
Wait, mine first is 2. Also,
nope,
it's
only girls.
Okay, fair enough.
So earlier this year, I watched The Hustler with
Nice.
Paul Newman, and then
Okay.
a month and a half ago or
This
so.
that's fine. This is one.
Yeah, it's fine. That's what I figured.
It's all
I
of a
watched
piece.
Color
That's
of
cool.
Money.
I love this.
I've been wanting to watch The Color of Money for a long time because, as you know, if you watch a show, we love Scorsese, and this was like one of the only ones I haven't seen. But I was like, well, I have to watch The Hustler first because you got to get the full story.
You really do.
Spoiler alert: The Hustler's great.
Yep.
Paul Newman, like, come on. But also, it's just like such like a story of like obsession and like toxic masculinity and like the lengths people will go to be the best at whatever.
Jackie
And like
Gleason also in that movie is fucking awesome.
everyone's great.
Well,
it's just like
who's
black
the,
and white, sweaty, and like, oh, Piper Laurie. She is great in it too.
And then I don't know that she was in a lot or anything.
This is definitely the earliest thing I've ever seen her in.
But I don't know that she was in a lot or anything between that and Carrie.
Which is also.
And she won an
Right.
Oscar for that.
But yeah, Hustler is great. Color of Money is also really good. I really enjoyed this. I really love like a keyword young. I love a young, arrogant Tom Cruise. So I love him in his roles when he is younger and he's like so clearly like kind of arrogant and like full of himself, but also it's like that's kind of the point, is that he like can't see the error of his ways because he feels like he's on top of the world even though at most points he's not. Like Top Gun, like Risky Business, like I love that Tom Cruise. Even fucking Eyes Wide Shut Tom Cruise, where he's like, I'm a doctor. Magnolia? I guess I love Tom Cruise.
Did I ever tell you the Tom Cruise formula?
No.
The Tom Cruise formula is this. There's this guy who's Tom Cruise, right? And
Right.
and he is like, I am the best at what I do. And then the movie's like, maybe I'm not the best at what I do. And then the end of the movie is like, actually, not only am I the best at what I do, I am actually better than I thought I ever was at what I do.
Dude,
that's the Tom Cruise formula. That's the Tom Cruise formula.
It is fake it till you make it incarnate. Like
Tom Cruise is the American dream. It's like, am I great? Maybe I'm not so great. Actually, I'm greater than I thought I was.
also Vanilla Sky is like one of my favorite movies.
Jerry Maguire
But
makes
the
me cry.
movie star, dude, I have never seen Jerry Maguire.
What?
You know I'll love it, right? I feel like I'm gonna love it.
Jerry Maguire's great. Great
Okay,
Bruce Springsteen
tune
song
in next
that.
time. I'm gonna have watched Jerry Maguire maybe. Love this Newman, Cruise. Like this is such a good cover, I feel like. Makes me want to go back to a dive bar and play pool that takes me 2 hours because I can't ever hit the ball in the hole. It's fun.
My next pick is one I was recommended to by our coworker Jensen recently, and it's Alan Clark's Contact. And it's from this Alan Clark box set. This other one's called Stars of the Roller State Disco, which I did not watch.
Whoa, it sounds cool.
But it does sound good. The first Alan Clark movie I've watched, I think like Tim Roth and Gary Oldman like started off in his movies, and so that's kind of what he was most famous for. Contact has nobody famous in it, and it is like these British soldiers on the patrol in Northern Ireland, and that's the movie. Is just sort of following these soldiers around as they patrol and look for, terrorists in Northern Ireland. I'm not like 100% familiar with the history of that. The movie isn't going to hold your hand or tell you any of that. It's literally just, that the British soldiers are there. They're an occupying force, essentially.
Can I see?
The sort of tension of like, what is something going to happen? And like most of the movie, nothing happens. It's a little over an hour long. It was made for the BBC.
Honestly, I would trust a Jensen recommendation though. Okay, but
Contact.
I'm trying to figure out why you haven't watched the other movie, because the summary of it is a group of unemployed teenagers try to gain fame as roller skaters.
The answer is...
That sounds so cool.
The answer is I had it checked out and I didn't have time.
Well, guess what? When you're at a video store, you always have another chance to watch something that you checked out and left sitting on your shelf for a long time. If I could watch Tokyo Story after literally like 2 months, you can watch that one. Okay, my next movie is something that
What's your next movie? 3 movies?
The next movie I'm talking about is a movie that I literally watched last night, and it's called Lose.
I did not like this movie.
You didn't?
No.
Tell me why you didn't like it.
I just couldn't get into it. I don't know.
I thought this movie was really cool. Plot-wise, don't even worry about it. This movie is a brisk 70 minutes homage to 80s German kind of shock. Also kind of a giallo type vibe going on. Super stylish.
Shot on 16.
Shot on 16. Super aware of what the fuck it's doing. Yeah. And I loved every moment of it. The score was just some synthy coolness. I don't know, Kevin, maybe it was too cool for you. Maybe it's too slick for you.
Let's not get personal. Let's not get personal here. Something about it just like
you know what it is.
It didn't click with me.
I bet it's how I feel about the guys who do A Mare and Strange Color of Your Body's Tears.
You don't like those?
Hate those movies.
Oh wow, okay. And I'm not even like the vibe of it didn't click with me.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of movie that if the vibe of it like doesn't click with you at the beginning,
I can see that.
Like,
if for some reason I wasn't, you would definitely be checked out. Plot-wise, basically, there's a demonic force that's being transferred from person to person. Something happened on a night with a taxi driver and this history between two girls at a Catholic boarding school. All of that, I feel like, is inconsequential to if you like the film, you're gonna like it. If you don't. Yeah.
Anyway.
Check it out. Give it a shot for yourself. It's like 70 minutes, so it's like, just check it out anyways to see.
So my last pick is a movie that I think I may have seen like 20-some years ago, but had forgotten so much about that when I watched it again, it was like a new movie, which is The Bride with White Hair. Directed by Ronnie Yu, who also directed Freddy vs. Jason.
Very cool.
And Bride of Chucky, I believe.
So cool.
But before that, he directed movies in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong fantasy stuff especially I love. And this is just an amazing movie, and it's a romance. I would describe it as it's like Romeo and Juliet, but awesome. Like, what if Romeo and Juliet
was even awesome?
What if it was like these two clans, these people can't get together, and then like when one of them is sort of betrayed, like fucking hair that kills people.
I love hair that kills people. We're both fans of hair extensions.
Oh yeah. Sion Sono's hair extensions.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a movie that's about killer hair that like actually has like an emotional core you will not see coming. This is a movie. If any movie I've seen in the last year needs a like remastered Blu-ray of, this one does. This movie would be so gorgeous on like a Blu-ray or 4K remaster.
My last one, you guys, is another recent watch for me, Day of the Beast.
Padre, ¿podremos soportar esta cruz? Sí.
Alex de Iglesia.
Nice.
I watched Perdita
I knew
Durango,
you would love this one.
And I liked it, but it was complicated. I liked it, but it was complicated. I watched Day of the Beast, and I just fucking loved it. Everything hit the note perfectly for what I wanted. It literally takes place on Christmas Eve even, and I love Christmas.
Hey, when's your birthday?
It's on Christmas. They're at the church, and this priest is like telling his priest friend, I'm just gonna commit a bunch of sins, and the guy's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, because like, and he tells him that he's committing all these sins so that he can sell his soul to the devil so that he can defeat the Antichrist on the day of the Antichrist's birth, which is going to be around Christmas, on Christmas.
Right.
And the other guy's like, all right, I'll help. And then as soon as he says that, the crucifixion like statue falls down and kills him, crushes him. And then he travels to the city where I'm gonna commit crime. So he like steals wallets and like pushes people. It's like very, very minor. And then he like goes into this, isn't it a video store? Or is it?
It's either a record store or a video store. I don't know.
I think it's a record store. He goes in and he meets this like dumb, like lovable metalhead dude who is like so sympathetic to his cause. And he's like, well, let me give you some like really good like devil music to listen to. This is my favorite band. And then he lets him like stay at his house. And then they just go on this like adventure together trying to sin, and then they like try to contact this guy who is like a television oracle, who knows all these spells. So they're like, we got to get in contact to him because he knows the spell for like getting us to where we need to be to like meet the Antichrist. It's insane. They take LSD, they do like sacrifices, they all like everything goes wrong, and it's Christmas. He's a priest who's best friends with this like 30-something metalhead. I love it so much, you guys. I'm so happy. I'm sure, I think even on one of these episodes, you can hear both Rich and Kevin being like, have you seen Day of the Beast? Like, you're gonna love it. And truth be told, I did. Talking about it now, I'm like realizing how much even more that I love it, and I should probably buy this Blu-ray.
But we actually have copies in the store.
All right, I'll pick it up before I go home, maybe.
Anybody watching wants a copy of Day of the Beast? I believe we have it in the store. Awesome. So there's some of our halfway through 2021 discoveries.
Ones that didn't make the episodes necessarily, but because we watch a lot, you guys. We watch a lot of stuff.
I watch too many movies.
Too many things.
Too many movies, really. Well, anyway, on that note.
All right, guys, we're gonna talk about some recommendations, what we've been watching. Kevin, why don't you, per usual, start us off?
As requested, I will start off again.
It's cooler when you do.
My first pick is probably my favorite sports movie, although I might have said that about one of my other picks on here. It's tied for my favorite sports movie, and it is The Bad News Bears from 1976.
Come on, get back. Huh.
There's 3 movies I watch every spring when it rolls around, like April, May time. I watch Dazed and Confused, Slacker, and The Bad News Bears.
Which is funny.
But not the Linklater one, because it's not very good.
But it's funny because you watch Linklater, and then you watch a movie that Linklater did later, but not his.
This is clearly one of Richard Linklater's favorite movies. I mean, he did a remake of it, and also, like, School of Rock is very Bad News Bears-ish.
Yes, true.
And there's this baseball sequence in Dazed and Confused that just, every time I see it, makes me go, like, I gotta rewatch Bad News Bears.
Well, did you like Everybody Wants Some?
I did like Everybody Wants Some.
I want to rewatch that.
Yeah. So I just rewatched Bad News Bears. It's, what you would call problematic in some areas now. There's some language in it that children say that definitely they shouldn't be saying in movies. But also, it's like the quintessential, like, underdog movie. It's like a movie about these kids who are very bad at baseball, who become almost champions. It has maybe my favorite ending of all time. Walter Matthau plays this drunk pool cleaner who used to be in the minor leagues, and now he's been coerced, sort of, by this guy to coach this team of kids who basically can't make the other teams. He's like, all right, I'll do it, but I'm gonna drink beer the whole time, and you gotta pay me a lot of money. You know, they all learn to like each other.
You forgot to sign the check. Check is not signed.
Oh, hell's right.
You'd see a movie like this now, and it would have like this sort of, it would be like on tracks. You'd be like, okay, now this part happens, and now this part happens, and now this part happens.
And you realize, like, all this realization coming to light stuff.
And that stuff does happen in here, but in ways, in like, kind of last minute, like in ways that you don't see really, like
in ways that it probably really happens in real life instead of these big theatrical moments.
It does feel more real, yeah, because they're real shitty a lot of the time, and they're shitty to each other a lot of the time. My favorite kid is Tanner, who says the worst stuff in the movie.
Thanks. Nobody ever stuck up for me before. Well, Lupus, if you wiped your nose once in a while, people wouldn't give you so much credit all the time.
So don't take that as an endorsement of what Tanner says, but he's just the best one because he's like yelling at all the other kids and he's angry all the time. They can't do baseball right. But Walter Matthau at some point enlists the daughter of someone he used to date, Tatum O'Neal, because he used to teach her. He taught her how to like pitch. So then they kind of start winning because she strikes everybody out because she's a really good pitcher.
But she's a girl.
But it comes up kind of, but not a lot.
Oh,
it's like actually good. Not like.
Not a point?
Which is a weird, which is a strange thing. You'd think like, oh, that'll be a whole thing where she's a girl.
That's what I thought.
And it's not even a thing in the movie, really. They're just sort of like, There's a part where she gets like slid into.
I know I don't have too much up there, but when I got, sure don't feel too good right now.
shorts.
Oh, Tatum.
It's not like a Ladybugs thing where they have to pretend she's a boy so
Yeah.
she can play on the team or anything. The other ringer that they get on the team is Jackie Earle Haley, who's this sort of bad boy who drives his motorcycle all over the fields while they're practicing and smokes cigarettes and stuff. But he's also like awesome at baseball. And Walter Matthau is just drinking beer the whole time. There's a cooler of beer in the dugout. Walter Matthau has so many amazing performances. I mean, this is the only one Walter Matthau movie I watch every year.
Yeah,
So
it's probably your favorite.
it's probably my favorite Walter Matthau performance. And I don't know, there's just something nice. It all feels like it's just shot at like golden hour kind of. So the director of Bad News Bears, Michael Ritchie, he has one of those careers that like by the end of his career was sort of like just these kind of whatever comedies. A lot of his 80s stuff I don't like. Other people have fondness of it because they were children when they saw these movies. But like his 70s output, his first 5 movies, Downhill Racer, Prime Cut with Gene Hackman, Lee Marvin,
that
Sissy
one's
Spacek, The Candidate
good.
with Robert Redford also, Smile, this amazing, which just came out on a Fun City Edition Blu-ray, which is amazing like satire on beauty pageants, and then The Bad News Bears, and then Semi-Tough in 1977, which is a pretty good football movie. Michael Ritchie is one of the best directors just based on those. I'm not even a huge baseball fan. I'm not like a huge sports fan.
baseball a lot.
I'm fine with baseball.
Sports movies, I feel like we talked about this in an early episode. I feel like
But I don't think we put it in the episode. I think it's not in there.
Really? It's in the
It was a
Lost
deleted
tapes?
scene, yeah. It didn't make the cut.
We talked about sports movies a little bit. You guys fucking missed it.
Well, we'll bring it back at some point. We'll
It's
talk
in
about
the
sports
Lost
movies again.
tapes.
It's like I said, it's a quintessential underdog team movie. It'll get you riled up. It'll get you teared up. It'll get you cheering. It'll get you thinking maybe there's some irresponsible parenting going on here.
Oh, this makes me want to watch it.
Bad News Bears, everyone. Check it out.
I'll drink to that.
Go.
My turn. And the movie I'm going to talk about first is called He Ran All the Way. This movie came out in 1951, directed by John Barry. This is a crime drama, kind of noirish. I really enjoyed it because it's one of the earliest that I have seen examples of like a home invasion movie, which I'm a big fan of. Like, you can give me the shittiest home invasion movie, I'll watch it, you know? It's
Wow,
never really
okay.
like different, but it's just, I will give it a shot. I did write a blog that's up on Scarecrow's blog at the beginning of quarantine about my favorite home invasion movies because I thought it was a very creepy thing to think about while you're stuck at home, you know? It's about this guy, John Garfield, is that his name?
John Garfield.
He is part of this robbery and he botches it up and his other buddies get killed, and he has this money and he goes on the run basically and is avoiding the cops, and he meets Shelley Winters. He doesn't really meet her. He like bumps into her at a public pool that he's trying to avoid the cops at. He's trying to like enmesh himself in the crowd so that they lose him. He basically charms her and kind of fakes interest in her in order to like get her on a date so that he can go back to her house, which he does. It's one of those movies, I was talking to Leo about this, one of those movies where it's like the shtick is that like Shelley Winters is supposed to be like an ugly, like mousy girl who like doesn't have boy attention, and it's like, I don't know, I think she's pretty.
She plays it so well that it's like more like just like she lacks like confidence or whatever.
Yeah,
So
that's it, that's
felt like
it.
Believe me, I'll do anything I can to help you.
I feel like a lot of movies back then did that though, where it's like this woman's supposed to be like a mousy, homely looking girl.
Right.
And it's like by anyone's standards, she's still a movie star. But yeah, she definitely is like insecure, and she's not used to attention from men. She lives at home with her younger brother and her mom and her dad. And so when he takes her home for the night from the date, he ends up like basically not leaving. And he's like, actually, I'm on the run from the cops. This is going to be my hideout. And everyone's like, oh, well, fuck, you know? He has a gun. He has all this money. And yet Shelley Winters is like, I think I'm in love with him. She keeps holding out hope that they actually have a connection. And like, who knows? Maybe they do end up having a connection. Maybe they don't.
You're for me, aren't you?
All the way.
And her family is like, just like this wholesome like working class family, and he basically just holds them all captive. He lets like some of them like leave throughout the day, but like the kid or like someone has to be with him at all times. John Garfield has this really like sweaty desperation that later when I was reading about him, This was the last movie he did before he died, and during this movie, or shortly thereafter, he was being pressed by the House of Un-American Activities to name names to be blacklisted, basically, and he refused to do it. So knowing that, and that he died a year after making this from a heart attack at the age of 39.
Which, I watched this morning, and when you're watching this, just the whole time, remember, that guy...
The pressure.
That guy playing that guy is 39.
And just the amount of like desperation and pressure and like just like boiled up in his performance is like so real and raw. And like, so actually also after making this, same year that this came out, the director John Barry was also blacklisted from Hollywood.
Wow.
So this was awesome. I really like seeing like really early like crime thrillers or things that you could tell kind of like pre-started like a horror genre, like a subgenre, like before like slashers, you know, before like slashers or like stalker movies or home invasion movies or like psychological thrillers were like a big thing in like mid to late 70s, and then like for slashers more the 80s. Like you could see the seeds being planted in some of these movies from the 50s and even 40s. So I really like seeing those examples.
It's an hour and 17 minutes long, which is solid. It's just like tells the story and gets out. There's a lot of good character stuff with the family.
Yeah, give it a watch.
The only problem I have with it is it's called He Ran All the Way.
And you're like, maybe at the beginning he ran, and then he found this apartment, and then he just kind of stuck it out.
Stayed there the whole time.
He does this thing too where he goes back and forth from being like a really dangerous, like scary dude to like trying to be like, well, I'm in your house, like let's all be friends here. And he like has all this stolen money, so he like makes the kid go out and like buys like a big turkey dinner and like a bunch of food in like little boxes and stuff. I don't know. And then they like refuse to eat his food, and it's like a big insult to him.
You'll eat my dinner and one of you walks out of here with a bullet in his head. No, you wouldn't do it.
Thanks for watching my pick.
Of course.
Yeah, check out He Ran All the Way. What do you want to talk about?
I got another movie to talk about. I got another movie to talk about. I'm going to talk about a movie, my favorite movie from Fantastic Fest 2019, actually. No, 2018? I don't know. Whenever, it was one of the last Fantastic Fests I went to.
2018.
2018 Fantastic Fest. My favorite movie from Fantastic Fest 2018, it was Mary Jane's Not a Virgin Anymore. But it's released on this EGFA compilation that's like the films of Sarah Jacobson, and Mary Jane's Not a Virgin Anymore is the feature on here. I Was a Teenage Serial Killer is like the short film, and then there's a handful of other short documentary things on there. Sarah Jacobson was, they say she was the self-proclaimed queen of underground cinema, but I think that she was proclaimed that by other people too.
She was probably proclaimed that by other people, and then she probably was like, "Hell yeah, I am."
Yeah.
Like maybe she was like, "Of course I am."
I mean, we don't know because she sadly died. We didn't get to see all of the great stuff that she would have done.
Apparently, she was in the middle of making another feature when she passed away.
Yeah, and I was reading about the other feature that she'd been working on. It was a feature about like a girl punk band in Missoula, Montana, which, if you know where I used to live, before I moved to Seattle, I lived in Missoula, Montana. I would have loved that movie.
Yeah, that would have been so great.
So I was even more sad that that didn't happen. We do have at least a record of what she did that was awesome. Mary Jane's Not a Virgin Anymore it's like a lot of movies that I've talked about on here, where it's like a hangout movie. It's a movie about just people. It's a movie about people at work. They were working at most of the movie takes place at a movie theater where she works with her friends at the movie theater. It's a coming of age movie. It's a movie about her in the very first scene being not a virgin anymore. Had Sarah Jacobson had the push of like a Miramax behind them, like something like Clerks, but it's the same kind of rawness. But without the sort of bro-y, ironic detachment.
Yeah, just think of like a female-fronted hangout movie where this girl is hanging out with her friends. They all work at a cool movie theater.
Right.
They're all kind of punk, and she's just like talking to them about like, she's like asking real questions about sex and giving like her girlfriends a lot of like platform to talk about sex like openly and freely.
Yeah, but you know, I've never met a girl who like had fun the first time she had sex.
And then who's in this movie? This like the famous guy that's in this movie before he was famous?
The main character is making a documentary in it, and so you also feel like it's very autobiographical. Like in the movie, she's going to school, and she's going to go off to school, to college after high school, and she's making a documentary about them, and it feels a lot like a lot of the Sarah Jacobson shorts that are on here and stuff too.
Pay really well.
What is that in her nose?
All the beer you can drink is free, all the time. Wait, can I say that, or are you going to get in trouble?
It's very raw, it's very rough, and I love it. It's just like, it's very DIY. It's a lot just like getting what you can, when you can, and getting who you can be to be in it. It showed at the Chicago Underground Film Festival. Roger Ebert was a huge fan of Sarah Jacobson, but it didn't really get a big release at the time, and it was just sort of years and years and years of it sort of sitting in the underground dustbin before AGFA found it and restored it and put it on this beautiful Blu-ray.
Davey Havok.
Yeah.
Davey Havok is who I'm talking about, you guys.
Who does he play?
He is just one of the dudes in it.
Oh, okay.
What I was going to chime in real quick is this is actually my second most popular Letterboxd reviews for this movie. And it's me quoting the part, and the part is, I tried to tell him that our lives are going to change because of this. He just told me not to bother talking because he was going to dub the whole video with the soundtrack from Eraserhead. And I love that line so much that I rewound it like a million times and almost did a spit take when I first heard it. I wrote the femme punk soundtrack, the DIY vibe, the realness of sex and friendships, the openness and dialogue about female sexuality, rape, pregnancy, gender roles, power dynamics, and they all work at a fucking movie theater. And yeah, everyone here is a huge fan of this movie, so you gotta check it out.
We have all worked at, and we all three of us actually have all worked at movie theaters before, and so we all know
the downtime. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, this Blu-ray, I don't know if it's actually still in print, but check AGFA's website and see if you can get it.
And watch everything else on it too.
Well, absolutely watch everything else on it. There's a whole bunch of other awesome short documentaries.
There's a really good short of her and her mom, and they go shopping and trying on bras together. It's so good.
Mary Jane's Not a Virgin Anymore is such a great debut that I just can't imagine what her next one would have been. It would have been hopefully it would have been as raw and rough and punk, but also just bigger. Clearly, we are all huge fans of the films of Sarah Jacobson, and I think you should check them out, and you will be too.
Yep.
Really? I'm not a loser if I masturbate? God, Jane, you're a loser if you don't.
Okay, my last movie that I'm ever gonna watch. I'm just kidding.
What?
The last movie
I hope not.
I'm gonna talk about is Sundown-The, Vampire in Retreat. Guys, don't be scared of this shitty cover. It's a super fun movie. I'm not a big horror comedy person, but this it's one of those 90s, I think it was 89 when it came out. So it's one of early 90s vibe of even if a movie was kind of taking itself seriously, it was still had that humor and that wackiness that made it a fun time. It's not super slapsticky horror comedy. So this movie is directed by Anthony Hickox, who directed Hellraiser 3, which features my favorite Cenobite, CD, who spits CDs out of its mouth. And he also directed Waxwork and Waxwork 2, as well as something you just watched.
I just watched earlier this week a movie called Full Eclipse with Mario Van Peebles, which is about werewolf cops. And it got to the end, and it said Anthony Hickox. I'm like, I recognize that name. I looked up, I'm like, oh, he just fucking directed them.
He watched a bunch of wacky horror movies that are just fun and dumb. So a family moves to this small town, and the man is moving there because he's going to help the facilitation of synthetic blood. He's going there to work with his old college buddy, who is also the ex-lover of his wife. Yes, and they have two small children. One of the children may or may not be the daughter of this ex-lover. The people in this town are very strange. You soon realize that they're all vampires, and they were all settled into this town because the goal was to try to have them live among humans, and by drinking synthetic blood they can kind of wean themselves off of attacking humans, being violent. Well, as happens with most communities like this, most vampire communities, half of them are down with the cause, and the other half are we gotta stick with our roots. I miss killing humans. And so there's an underground, literally underground uprising. led by the guy who is working at the synthetic plant with the human guy who just got there. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of like sub-stories too. There's also this couple that goes camping that ends up, their car breaks down or something and they end up in this town. The boyfriend is played by, he's Bobby Briggs from Twin Peaks. You guys know who I'm talking about.
Well, they're camping at the beginning and they're watching, is it their friend at the
oh my God, their friend.
Because the very beginning is like this guy pulls up to this gas station.
He doesn't pull up. As he's sniffing literal sweaty palmfuls of coke up his nose, just like careening into this small gas station where these three guys are sitting in the shade, and he's just like,
and he's just addicted to these small town guys.
Yeah.
And then the great M.M. Walsh literally knocks his head off.
And that's when I knew I was gonna love this fucking movie. This movie's like a little TV show stuffed into this little movie, but it's a wild ride. Like every step of the way, like you're having fun with it. People end up in jail. This family's dealing with their own dramas because the guy's like, you still love this dude I'm working for at the synthetic blood plant. He doesn't know the guy working at the synthetic blood plant is leading an underground army of vampires who want to like reclaim the town of Purgatory, which is the name of the town.
But who's on the cover? We haven't gotten to either of these guys who are the stars of the movie, sort of.
Basically 20 minutes into this movie, a bumbling, mustachioed Bruce Campbell.
Hello.
Morning. Morning.
You have a tow truck around here? My car broke down and...
He gets to the diner. All these vampires are at the diner. When they hear that people are coming into town that don't live there, that aren't vampires, they have to stage, like they put like fake food, like old rotting food in front of them, like they're eating at the diner even though they're not. He's trying to find the leader of the good vampires, basically. He wants to kill all the vampires because he doesn't know the intricacies of the issue. So he's trying to find...
There's no good bad at this point. He's trying to find a guy named Mardulak.
Yeah, but Mardulak is the leader of the vampires that are trying to wean themselves off of attacking humans.
He doesn't know that at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know that.
He just wants to kill everybody. So yeah, Bruce Campbell is the great-great-grandson of Van Helsing. He's just like a bumbling, kind of goofy, professorly, but yet still like supremely Campbell-y, like wacky-do guy. There's some good like Buffy the Vampire Slayer level of effects, makeup effects and stuff. It's a fun movie. They don't shy away from the blood either, which I love when horror comedy movies. I don't really like them, but when they work, they don't like shy away from the horror aspect. And I think that's what really matters, is that there's enough of that to combat.
Count Mardulak also on the cover here, played by David Carradine.
Yes, David Carradine. Also at the beginning, these two young girls, they're probably like, I would say they're like 7 and 5, maybe. And the older one's like scaring the younger one, and you know, they scold the older one, and then they're like, well, what about her? She loves scary movies. And they show this like 5-year-old's bedroom, and she has like all of these like horror posters on the wall and like just very adult horror like accessories and stuff. And she's like this tiny, cute little blonde girl. It's very, very funny.
It also has like Deborah Foreman from Valley Girl in it.
Yeah.
It's got the great Buck Flowers.
Buck Flowers, yeah.
Also Shane, who is the ex-lover who works for the synthetic blood company that's in charge of the underground uprising of vampires. It's played by Max Caulfield, who is Rex Manning in Empire Records.
John Ireland, is it?
John Ireland's
like, all the westerns.
Basically, if you know
priest,
an actor or an actress, they're in this movie. Help spread the word. Watch this one.
Yeah, don't let the sun go down.
Don't be a vampire in retreat and watch this.
Sundown.
Sundown.
That's gonna put our butts in the sun.
Some drinks are a real home run. And others are a strikeout.
A strikeout. This one is going to be a real bad news situation. Here's Tony with another cocktail.
Okay, pick out your tongue.
Hey y'all, Tony from the Victory Lounge here. I just came up with a brand new cocktail to pair with the film The Bad News Bears. It's called the Street Legal Dirt Bike. So let's get into it, see how it's made.
Today we're going to be starting with slow gin for a little sweetness. Some Budweiser. Miss Vicky's jalapeno kettle chips. And I used You Bet chocolate syrup. If you find some chocolate on a baseball that you like, go ahead and put it in there. Get your bowl set right here, filled up with Miss Vicky's jalapeno kettle chips. get out your favorite muddler and smash those bastards up. We're not looking for salt texture uniformity. Just get them small enough to where they'll stick to a glass. Tall rocks glass. Fill it with ice. 1.5 ounces of sloe gin. You're gonna want about a half ounce of chocolate. Top it off with Budweiser beer. And this is important, you don't want to shake this one up. You want to stir it. Because if you shake up carbonated beverages, they will blow up in your face. Trust me, happened to a guy I know. His name was me. All right, grab a slice of lemon and rim a martini glass. Now bring back your chips and rim that martini glass. Again. Now strain the mixture in. And voila, you have a cocktail.
That's how you make the street legal dirt bike. I'm Tony, see you at the Victory Lounge. Make is spicy. Holy shit.
So our dog movie this time, I was really excited for. Kevin had never seen. I had seen when it came out when I was younger. This is kind of what sparked a lot of the dog movies, the buddies stuff, etc., etc. Yeah. We watched Air Bud. Starring Air Buddy himself.
Yeah, starring the Air Buddy. The only one of them that actually stars the Air Buddy.
Yeah.
Because he died.
We'll talk about it later, though. It's too sad to talk about right now.
Charles Martin Smith, the director of this, you might remember as an actor from American Graffiti. Played Toad in American Graffiti. He's also in Starman, Never Cry Wolf.
He directed the metal horror masterpiece Trick or Treat. He also directed Dolphin Tale and A Dog's Way Home, which we will never watch because it looks far too sad. The main kid also, I didn't write down his name, but he was in a lot of horror movies, and he was also Damien in Gossip Girl. So similar to Bingo, who came from the circus,
right?
Buddy, who used to be known as Old Blue, worked with his abusive owner as a part of like a birthday clown situation. So it was Clown and the Hound was what they called themselves.
Yeah, played by Michael Jeter, who was in a bunch of stuff. He got eaten by a dinosaur in Jurassic Park 3. He was on Sesame Street for years.
He really goes 100% in this movie.
Oh yeah, and he
fucking commits to this like alcoholic clown. You don't see him hit the dog either, which is good.
No,
they allude to it. They allude to it, and he hits the cage with the newspaper. But if you're like worried about if you're gonna watch Air Bud because of our review, but you're like, I don't want to see Air Bud be abused, he doesn't get abused on camera, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We see the origin of Air Bud as this dog who goes to kids' birthday parties, and he's good at like grabbing like toys and like the balls they throw at him, but like they show like this catastrophe happened at a birthday party. It's not even his fault. The clown trips.
The clown is drunk when they get there.
Clown's drunk as fuck.
Like last time we talked about Ugly Dachshund, this opening scene at this kid's birthday party is an Ugly Dachshund type situation because the dog starts running around, and then everybody goes like,
it's the people's reaction. The people who act like absolute maniacs are the ones who make the situation weird.
The dog falls out of the back of the truck because the clown is driving poorly. He's wearing
this little clown, the saddest little clown outfit. And then this car almost does hit him, barely, like bumps him.
He's in a cage.
Yeah, he's in a cage. And then it's this mom and her little baby daughter, like toddler daughter, and then her young son. And she's like, why is there a box in the middle of the road? Oh gosh. And then keeps going. And it's like clearly a kennel.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't she just stop? But then the boy sees the dog, the sad dog and a little clown costume. They move into this new house. They say that the kid's father passed away recently.
Right. Did he die in a plane crash or something?
They mentioned it was a plane crash, which is like, it was an unnecessary detail that just made it a little harsher. This kid starts at a school, and he used to play basketball with his dad, but he gets a little nervous about signing up for the team, so he starts band because his mom was like, I played the flute when I was his age, and he's really bad at his trombone or trumpet or just whatever it is. And then he goes in for tryouts, and the coach is like, he didn't make it, but you want to be a manager, you can be a manager. As he walks home, he discovers this old abandoned church, and as soon as I saw that church, you know what I was thinking, Kevin?
You haven't gone to church in so long, and you really want to?
I should probably go back to church.
Right, start going back to church.
No, I was like, there's definitely an abandoned basketball court behind that church. I was like, I haven't seen this in so long, but I know that's about to happen. And sure enough, he starts playing with the ball, and then all of a sudden, like, he hears a noise, and his ball rolls into the bushes, then it rolls back out, because guess who's in those bushes?
E.T.?
Nope.
Oh, Air Bud.
It's Elf.
It's Elf. Oh no, it's Elf.
It's everyone's favorite alien.
Hey, I'm gonna play basketball.
Oh God.
They treat this whole him meeting, it's like so much like E.T. E.T. it's like there's the mystery of what it is. In this one, it's like we know
it's a legit golden retriever.
We know it's a dog. Although, like, when the dog does reveal itself, it is a sweet scene where it like comes out. It's better than it has any reason to be.
It's better than everything that came after it, that's for sure.
That's what I mean.
In this franchise.
Well, because you think of Air Bud and then you go, oh, Air Bud,
buddies.
Air Bud full court press, Air Bud, Air Buddies, all this stuff where it's like, the whole Air Bud progeny.
Extended universe.
Yeah, extended universe. It's essentially E.T. with a dog.
It basically is. Okay, this movie is also so 90s. It's like so great. He keeps giving him like snack pack pudding packs, vanilla ones. And then later he feeds him like a bunch of like SpaghettiOs out of the can and stuff. And it's just like, hell yeah, those were the treats back then, you know. They form a bond. He calls him Buddy because he just keeps being like, hey, Buddy, come here. His name's Buddy now. As is usual with these movies, the parents are like, we will not have a dog.
Right.
And what I wrote in this is like, I'm going to say word for word what I wrote. Honestly, though, you have found the most family-friendly, all-American suburban dog. You guys probably would have got one anyways. Heartless parents. Don't people love animals? He even like washes Buddy before he shows his mom.
Yep.
And he's just like a perfect golden retriever. Like honestly, those kind of families would get a golden retriever anyway.
She accepts him at some point.
Eventually. Yeah. He has to sleep outside, but he sneaks into the window and sleeps in the boys' room.
Because he's like.
And then, Christmas morning they adopt him.
He keeps taking the newspapers every morning because he hates newspapers because the old clown used to hit him with the newspaper.
Yeah.
So he hates newspapers, so he's taking them every morning, and she's calling the newspaper place like, I'm not getting my newspapers, and they're like, oh, we're delivering them.
And then one time she's in the garden and she's gardening and she shovels up all the newspapers that Buddy buried, and it's very cute, very sweet. Basically, Buddy loves basketball. He loves playing sports, and he because of his time as a clown, I guess. In real life, because he was actually trained to play basketball.
Yeah, actually, in real life, the actual Air Buddy was trained to play basketball, football, hockey, and soccer, I believe.
I think so. There's a beautiful view of the Puget Sound, Lake Washington.
Yeah.
Who knows? This is
somewhere.
Fernfield, Washington, where it could be anywhere.
Wherever the fuck that is.
Also, there's like so many references. Like he loves the Sonics. This kid on his basketball team is like, I know we're gonna win because I found a piece of Sean Kemp's trash and I keep it in my sock.
I think they lose a few players.
Yeah.
And then he gets on the team. The dog comes into the place and like starts messing around.
Hey, give me the ball!
At the end, like the mom of the cute girl was like, oh my God, like we gotta hang out.
But then the weirdest scene in the whole movie happens after that. So the coach of the team has been like sorta, I guess, dickish in some ways.
He's just like a mean dad.
Buddy like runs upstairs to the gym. And the kid's like, hey, Buddy, where are you going? And Buddy like runs up there and is like, I'm gonna check this out. He looks through this window into the gym, and like what he sees is the fucking coach just chucking basketballs as hard as he can at this kid who couldn't catch the basketball, going like, "This will teach you how to catch a basketball."
Yeah, he's just throwing like super hard, and then the principal lady is like,
"What's going on
that'll
here?"
be enough of that.
But it's so out of nowhere that this coach is like being so brutal to this kid.
Yeah.
It's like brutal. The kid's got like a bloody nose, but everybody's also like, "Good job, buddy," because Buddy knew like.
Buddy knows how to spot abuse.
He's like, "I'm gonna."
Because this guy reminds me of my clown dad.
The coach is replaced by Bill Cobbs, who's the janitor at the school because he used to be a New York Knicks basketball
And for
player.
some reason, he is the janitor at the school.
And he's a janitor at
and
the
no one
school.
knows. We always sound like such fucking lunatics, like talking about the plots of these movies. And then there's this janitor. Guess what? He used to be a professional basketball player. But why does he keep his uniform in the boiler room?
Because he wants to hide from everybody. I don't know. The point is that Bill Cobbs, great actor, was also in the other movie that the actor dog who plays Air Buddy was in, which is Fluke.
And then the team gets really good because this guy's like actually kind, and he's actually like,
he's a good
instead
coach.
of being like, we got to win, 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 he's like,
If you're just out there for yourself, you lose.
this is how you play as a team,
Right.
et cetera,
And
which is also like the life lesson for everyone in this movie, really.
Yeah. Well, eventually the clown finds out about Buddy because he's on the news, and so the clown comes after him and goes to the house and goes like, "That's my dog," and so the mom is like, "Oh shit, I guess," because his name.
And he basically just takes him.
The dog comes to him and he's like, "Yeah, sorry kid, this is his dog," and he takes him and the kid's like, "Nah, I don't like it. Buddy doesn't like him."
Buddy doesn't like it.
So he goes over to the clown's house and the clown is like on the phone trying to make deals with all these people to get the dog on TV.
Meanwhile, he's
and shit.
surrounded by cans of like Budweiser, in this window or
just
whatever.
everywhere. You never see him drink.
It's always the cans.
But you see the empties, so you know. Buddy gets free, and the clown's like, "I'm gonna chase you," but he falls over and stuff. It's hilarious.
He does clown shit. It's pretty funny.
The kid then gets Buddy, and he's like, "You
oh,
go."
Fuck! I think I blocked this out. I blacked out because I didn't like it.
There's a whole go on get scene.
He literally does the go on get. I think he even says that.
Go! Get!
And he gives him one last pudding cup.
And he's on he puts him on like an island somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, it's really sad. And Buddy's trying to swim. I literally got up and started making food in the kitchen. I don't need this right now.
Well, anyway, the basketball game's going, and they're short. No, they're short people because someone gets fouled out and they lose a player or something. So they're short players. All of a sudden. The coach is like, I think that we should get this dog on the team. And the refs look it up. There's a whole thing in the rule book, and one of them says one of the refs says,
"He's right. Ain't no rule said the dog can't play basketball."
And you know what? There probably isn't. There's probably not a rule.
I don't think there is.
There's probably not a rule in every fucking sports rule book that says dogs cannot play.
I mean, maybe
why
now.
would
maybe
you write
now
that?
After this movie.
Maybe, because why would you put that rule in there? Because of course you're not gonna have
is there
a dog
rule
on
that
your
says
team.
we can't hire dogs to work at Scarecrow?
Right, exactly. No, but we're probably not gonna because
should we?
So Buddy gets to play the basketball game.
He gets his own jersey. He gets his own 2 pairs of little tennis shoes.
I hate the shoes.
Kevin's really anti-dogs and shoes. I guess I am too. They look wrong. It looks wrong. They're not comfortable.
The dogs walk around weird.
So he wins the game for them or whatever, and then the clown
which is like where you think the movie's gonna end.
Oh,
you go
no.
they're gonna.
This is a courtroom drama because the clown comes and he's like, "All right, buddy. All right, kid. He won you the game. Now give it back to me." But his papers that say the dog's his are all wet. He's like, "I'll see you in court." And you think that's just going to be the end and the movie will end, but then you actually go to court.
Quiet!
Basically, if this was real life, they'd all be in contempt of court. It's like there'd be a mistrial.
Every time the judge hits the gavel, Buddy goes, "Woof!" Because he's been trained to do that.
And then they decide to do the thing where it's like, okay, we'll go outside and you guys both call the dog, and whichever way he goes, that's who he goes to. And it looks like he's going to go to the clown, but he's just trying to get the newspaper, and he rips the newspaper out of the clown's hand, and then he goes over to the kid, who we've never said I don't even remember the kid's name. We've never even named him in this whole thing.
Doesn't matter.
And then, he chooses the kid.
Custody of the dog to Josh Fram.
And that's Air Bud, and he played basketball. He played it well.
I would like to briefly talk about the dog. So basically this dog was adopted, found at a rescue, and then the guy who adopted him like trained him to play all these different sports.
Yep.
And then he was in 2 movies. He was in Fluke, like you said, and he was in Air Bud. Nothing was like computer or CGI or anything when he was playing basketball. After this movie, he was about 8 or 9 when this movie came out. After this movie, they had to amputate his leg, his back leg, because he was sick. And then about a year later, he died in his sleep with complications from cancer. You know what? He had a fucking awesome life.
It's a great, yeah.
Brought a lot of joy.
And I'll remember the strength that you gave me. Now that I'm standing on my own, I'll remember the way that you saved me. I'll remember.
All right, so that was Air Bud. Check it out. It's a slam dunk.
Because we brought it up on this one, because Air Buddy is in this movie also, we're going to do the movie Fluke.
You've never met a dog like Fluke. He's making new friends, coming of age, and searching for a family. Fluke.
I don't know anything about
Which
Fluke,
I've
so
seen.
is that going to be another one that's going to make me fucking cry?
Don't
so
remember.
hard?
I remember it being pretty good.
Okay.
But I think it's a movie about a guy who dies and then is reincarnated like as a dog.
You guys are
And
going
so
to
it's
see
got,
me just like pressed to my limits in this segment over time. Like we're going to watch
our next dog movie, Fluke.
Fluke.
So here we are at the end.
Here we are. We made it to the end.
Whew, we did it.
Hope
We
you guys
survived.
made it to the end.
Yeah.
We got some more. Kevin said he couldn't help himself.
I couldn't help myself, so I got us some more bingo trading cards. So this is an incentive for all you watching this to order stuff from us, because with every order you'll get a bingo trading card.
Seriously, like maybe the best dog movie we watched. I don't know. Like it's so
It's
wacky.
like not even a movie I like, but these trading cards are making me love it more every day.
There's no way not to sound crazy describing everything that happens in that movie.
Right.
If you want to get your paws on one of these, then you should
order something from us.
Rent by mail or order something. Yeah.
Scarecrow 2.1. The links are all below. Check out Scarecrow Radio, our podcast. Check out Mark Steiner's show, Scarecrow Soundtrack Cinema.
Art House 2, The Fart House. Check out that video with Jamie and Kate. And like go on our website, browse around, do our rent by mail, call us, rent stuff over the phone, schedule an appointment.
Send us emails and questions, comments, all that stuff to viva@scarecrow.com.
Yeah, hit us up. We love giving recommendations or just like let us know that you like the show. Until next time.
Yeah, Viva Physical Media.
And happy birthday, Rich.
Happy birthday, Rich.